Hey guys, so in this video, we're gonna talk about intercepts. That's section 6.4. And I want to remind you that intercepts are points where graph crosses x and y axes. And the point where the graph crosses x axis, it's called x-intercept. And the point where the graph crosses the y axis, it's called the y-intercept. Okay, so I want to show you the graph that we made in the previous section. So this is the line, right? And we had two intercepts here. One intercept is our x-intercept, and that has coordinates 4, 0. And the second point right here, which is our y-intercept, and the coordinates there are 0, -2. Okay, and I want to remind you again that for the x-intercept, the y-coordinate always equals 0 because this point sits on the x axis. So it's not, there is no movement up or down. So it's exactly on the x-intercept, so on the x-axis. So the y-coordinate is 0. For our y-intercept, it's a similar thing, only 0 is in place of x. Again, this point sits right on the y-axis, no movement left or right. So the x coordinate is 0. So let's apply this knowledge here. Since the vertical intercept is the point at which the graph crosses the vertical axes. So the vertical intercept, it's also a y-intercept. So it's where the graph crosses the vertical or the y-axis. So the input value of the vertical intercept, or the x value, is always 0. All right, the coordinates of the vertical intercepts will be 0 and some kind of y value. To determine this y value, or to determine the vertical intercept, we're gonna plug in our input value into the equation. Okay. Plug in 0 into the equation and solve for y. Okay. Now, the horizontal intercept, also known as x-intercept, is the point at which the graph crosses the horizontal axis, or the x-axis. The output value for the horizontal intercept is always 0. So the coordinates of the horizontal intercept have the form, there's some kind of x value and 0 for the y, always. To determine the horizontal intercept, we're gonna plug in 0 for the y value into the equation and solve for x. So that's our theory for this section. Now let's go to the practice. Here we have example 7, which says determine the vertical and horizontal intercepts for this equation. Okay, so remember to find the y-intercept, we put 0 in 4x. So our equation becomes y equals 3 times x, right? Minus 2. That's our pattern. That's our formula. Now we're gonna put in 0 here for our x, and we're gonna keep solving. So we're gonna have y equals 3 times 0 is 0 minus 2. So y equals -2. So when x value is 0, the y value is -2. So our ordered pair is 0, -2. All right. So that's the vertical intercept. Let's figure out our horizontal intercept. For the horizontal intercept, we set y equals 0. And again, plug that into the equation. So we have y equals 3x minus 2. So instead of y, we are putting in a 0. So that's our equation. 0 equals 3x minus 2. Let's start solving it. We're gonna add 2 to both sides, and we're gonna get 2 equals 3x. The next step is to divide both sides by 3, and we're gonna get x equals 2/3. So when y equals 0, x equals 2/3. Okay, so right here, so we have the point 2/3 comma 0, and that's my x-intercept or horizontal intercept. As we mentioned before, in order to graph a line, and this is a linear equation, so the graph will be a line, we only need 2 points. And to be honest with you, if I'm just asked to graph a line, these are my favorite points, the x and y intercepts. They're probably the easiest to find. However, sometimes when your line goes through the origin, your x and y intercept is the same point. So in this case, you would still have to find a second point, any second point. It will not be an intercept, just any point. Okay, but let's plug these ones in. So we have 0, -2 right here. Let me use a colored marker. So right here. And the next one is 2/3 and 0. By the way, yeah, 2/3 and 0. So right here. All right, that's my second point, and I can take my straight edge and actually draw a line. So this is gonna be my line.